Did you know that the first war ever to be fought was in heaven? Revelation chapter 12 and verse 7 plainly says there was war in heaven. This war has come to be known as the great controversy between Christ and Satan. It's a spiritual war, and we're in the middle of its battlefield. Satan started this war, but before this angel had gone bad, he was known as Lucifer. Ezekiel 28:14 says Lucifer was one of the anointed covering cherubs. A covering cherub is a type of angel who occupied the position of being next to God in the holy temple. The Bible describes the covering cherubs as sitting on each end of the ark of God, which is located in the most holy place of God's heavenly sanctuary. Inside the ark are God's 10 commandments. Therefore, this makes the covering cherubs the guardians or protectors of God's law. Isaiah 14:13 and 14 tells us that Lucifer had a problem with pride. Here's what it says: "For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High." Lucifer wanted to exalt his throne and be like God. To accomplish this, Lucifer began telling the angels they didn't need a law to govern how they live. I can just picture Lucifer telling the angels we should be free to choose our own way. We don't need the law to tell us right from wrong. Does this sound familiar to you? Isn't this what many churches teach today, that Christians don't need God's law? Friends, that's a lie from Satan himself. Jesus said in John 14:15, "If you love me, keep my commandments." In other words, the Christian does not keep God's commandments in order to be saved, but rather the Christian will keep God's commandments because he is already saved and because he loves Jesus. But for Satan, who rebelled against God's laws, Revelation 12:7 through 9 tells us what his outcome is. This passage says, "And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him." So you see, the very angel whose job it was to defend and protect God's law became the first lawbreaker. Lucifer, who once loved to honor and protect God's holy law, now became its chief enemy, attempting to break God's commandment in pieces. In the end, when Jesus comes to take his people home with him, there will be two kinds of people on earth. One group will be those saved by God's grace. Revelation 14:12 speaks about the redeemed in this manner. "Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus." The other group of people will be those who refuse to keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. Now, before God created our world, he created a contingency plan to deal with sin entering into the human race. That plan was to have Jesus come to earth and show us the way to salvation through his death on the cross. That plan was revealed to God's people in the Old Testament through the earthly sanctuary, which God patterned after the sanctuary in heaven and asked his servant Moses to build here on earth. Therefore, we may learn about God's plan for our salvation by understanding more about the earthly and heavenly sanctuaries, which will be the topic of our next video, titled God's Way of Salvation. You may also learn more by sending for this free book, The Great Controversy Between Christ and Satan, Past, Present, and Future. It's yours for free if you simply email us at stmedia.co@gmail.com and ask for the free book offer. If you live inside the continental United States, we'll send you the book by mail. So please provide your name and mailing address while supplies last. outside the continental U.S., we'll send you the book by return email in PDF format. May God bless you and your loved ones as you seek to learn and understand more about Jesus and God's plan for your salvation. One final note, please don't request this book if you already have a copy in your home.